I grew up on a road that never stayed straight. Dad left town with a half-pack crate. Mom worked nights at the old feed store. I learned real quick what a lock screen's for. Got jumped one night by my own best friend. He took my cash and my cheap weekend. I saw his truck outside my sister's place. He shook my hand with that same old face. Right then I learned what a line looks like. You cross that once, you don't get a twice. Cross me once, that's all you get. Write your name where the sun won't set. I don't chase folks who turn their back. I just ride them down a different track. I forgive fast, but I don't forget. Your handshake feels like a quiet thread. You had one shot to stand up right. Cross me once, you're out of my life. Years roll by, pack up that truck. Hit 3 small towns, chasing some luck. Played cheap bars for a folded bill. Slept in lights where the air went still. Met a man in boots with a wide brim hat. Says sign right here, I can change all that. He smiled big, said he'd treat me fair. Then he took my songs, left me standing there. I watched his name on a big red sign. My words on a voice that wouldn't mind. Cross me once, that's all you get. Write your name where the sun won't set. I don't chase folks who turn their back. I just ride on down a different track. I forgive fast, but I don't forget. Your handshake feels like a quiet thread. You had one shot to stand up right. Cross me once, you're out of my life. Got a late night call from a friend who stole. He said, man, I'm tired of this heavy load. He was sitting in a cell 2 towns from here. Said, come on down, be my witness clear. I drove that road with the radio low. Thought real hard about the seeds we sow. I walked inside, looked him in the eye. Said, you had your chance, now walk on by. Left him there with his head hung down. Drove straight past the edge of this worn out town. Cross me once, that's all you get. Write your name where the sun won't set. I don't chase folks who turn their back. I just ride them down a different track. I forgive fast, but I don't forget. Your handshake feels like a quiet thread. You had one shot to stand up right. Cross me once, you're out of my life. Now I stand on stage with a clear, strong voice. Took my loss and I made my choice. I keep my circle small and tight. If you're in my corner, you're in for life. But if you play me like some easy mark, you'll watch me walk and fade to dark. I don't raise my hand, I don't raise my tone. I just leave you there and I head back home. So here's my word on a barroom night. You show your heart or you lose that right. I'll shake your hand, give you one clean shot, but I won't relive what this life already taught. I got my road and I got my pride. I keep my promise on the safer side. You can ride along or you can pay that price. Cross me once, you're out of my life.
I was raised where the gravel cuts through old farm roads. Mama worked late, dad liked staying gone. I learned fast how to lock my own front door. Made my lunch, said my prayers, and I moved on. First fight came in a 4th grade hallway. Principal called, said I swung too bold. Mama just sighed, said boy, you stand your ground, but you're gonna be hard to hold. Got my first truck, rust on every corner. Keys in my hand, felt like a parole. I've always been hard to hold. Too much steel in my spine to fold. If you try to fence me in, I'll go. I'll walk my path, steady and slow. Got scars on my name, but I stay true. I won't change just to comfort you. If you grab tight, I'll slip like smoke. I'm here to stay, but I won't be on. Met a girl pouring drinks at the only bar in town. She liked my jokes, like my rough old boots. We moved in fast, 2 paychecks, 1 couch. Thought I found someone who knew my roots. She wanted rings, wanted kids in the backyard, wanted my boots by the same front door. I wanted mornings on the highway, radio loud, sleeping some nights on a hardwood floor. We argued late, lights off, voices low. She said, why can't you just do what you're told? I've always been hard to hold. Too much steel in my spine to fold. If you try to fence me in, I'll go. I'll walk my path, steady and slow. Got scars on my name, but I stay true. I won't change just to comfort you. If you grab tight, I'll slip like smoke. I'm here to stay, but I won't be on. Got pulled over on a Tuesday, taillight gone. Officer said my plates were out of date. Asked where I'd been, why my eyes looked tired. I said, sir, I'm just running from my own mistakes. He checked my name, said I owe some fines. Told me I better start doing what I'm told. I signed a slip, looked him dead in the eye. I said I'll pay it, but I won't be sold. Drove off slow, past the house I grew up in. Same crack porch, same mailbox, same old holes. I've always been hard to hold. Too much steel in my spine to fold. If you try to fence me in, I'll go. I'll walk my path, steady and slow. Got scars on my name, but I stay true. I won't change just to comfort you. If you grab tight, I'll slip like smoke. I'm here to stay, but I won't be on. One of these days they'll put me in the ground. Friends will say I never did grow old. They'll say I laughed loud, talk back when I had to. Kept my word, kept my hands on the wheel I chose. You might see a mess when you say my name. I see a life I steered on my own road. I didn't bend, I didn't break for comfort. I just lived the way my heart was told. So if you cross my path and reach for me, understand what you're reaching to hold. I'll share my time, share my table and my story, but I won't trade my voice for your control. I'll die the same way I walked in this world, boots laced up, standing firm in my role. Love me or leave me, I'll keep moving forward, cause I was born this way, hard to hold.
Judge said, son, sit down. I stay standing, hands in chains, and he read off all my charges like I was homework on his desk. Public defender shook his head, told me take the deal and run. Said I walk in 7 years if I signed and kept my mouth shut. I looked him right in both eyes, said you keep your orders, I'll keep mine. Keep your orders, I ain't your kind. You write rules, but you don't write my life. You draw lines I was born to cross. You call it crime, I call it cause. Talk real loud from a leather chair, but you don't bleed in the dirt out there. You weigh papers, I read the signs. You keep your orders, I'll keep mine. First time I saw a badge, I was 10 in my front yard. They had dad dad face down on gravel, mom yelling through the screen door. He missed one payment on his truck, they talk like he was some thief. Tore apart his glove box, kicked his tools into the street. I grabbed his hand when they cuffed him. He said, boy, don't you kneel for that. Keep your orders, I ain't your kind. You write rules, but you don't write my life. You draw lines I was born to cross. You call it crime, I call it cause. Talk real loud from a leather chair, but you don't bleed in the dirt out there. You wave papers, I read the signs. You keep your orders, I'll keep mine. Years later I punched his clock. Warehouse lights, same gray wall. Boss man checks his clipboard, acts like he owns our lungs. Tell me clocking early, kid, don't you talk about your pay. Rise me up if I sit down while his son plays on his phone. He says, do what you're told around here. I say, fire me if you have to. Keep your orders, I ain't your kind. You write rules, but you don't write my life. You draw lines I was born to cross. You call it crime, I call it cost. Talk real loud from a leather chair, but you don't bleed in the dirt out there. You wave papers, I read the signs. You keep your orders, I'll keep mine. I seen men trade the time for a little peace in a parking spot. Single folks lose their voice, nodding yes just to keep the lights on. I would rather pack this truck, drive all night, chase my own small road, than sit quiet in that line, begging anyone to call my name. Keep your orders, I ain't your kind. You write rules, but you don't write my life. You draw lines I was born to cross. You call it crime, I call it cost. Talk real loud from a leather chair, but you don't bleed in the dirt out there. You wave papers, I read the signs. You keep your orders, I'll keep mine. So if you see me roll through town, old cab low with my jaw set tight, know I tried to play your game, it never once sat right inside. I'm still standing on my own, win or lose, I walk that line. You can keep your orders and titles, I'll keep my word. You keep your orders, I'll keep mine.
Judge says, son, you got one more shot. Mama in the back row, eyes locked on the clock. I signed that paper, walked out those doors, told myself I'm done with the backroom wars. Got a job laying brick on the edge of town. Shoot my pride up, tried to choke it down. Boss barking orders, talking like he owns my name. But I've been my own man since the county fair game, where I rigged that booth and still lost my pay. Learn real fast, no one's handing you away. I'm the last one standing when they count me out. Boots in the dust, I don't turn around. I took every word that they threw like stones, turned that weight into muscle and bone. They drew their lines, tried to fence me in. I cut my path through the thick and thin. They want me down, but I'm still on my feet. Last one standing on this busted up street. Cousin runs a bar off an old dirt road, said come 10 taps, keep your head low. First night out, old crew walked in, same flat cap, same sideways grins. They flashed thick rolls from a trunk deal store, told me one long ride, you won't work no more. I stared at that cash, could almost feel it in hand, but I pictured mom's car in a prayer chain band. So I wiped that counter, set 'em off that track, watched her taillights fade, didn't beg 'em back. I'm the last one standing when they count me out. Boots in the dust, I don't turn around. I took every word that they threw like stones, turned that weight into muscle and bone. They drew their lines, tried to fence me in. I cut my on this busted up street. Week later, sheriff knocked on my door, said your old boys ran, but we got the score. Showed me their files long as my arm, asked if I'd help keep them from more harm. I said I ain't snitching, but I ain't their shield. My side of the road is a different field. He nodded slow, said you changed, that's clear, but folks round here still drag the same old gear. So I bought this trailer on a small dead end, started fixing engines for my rent. My friends, I'm the last one standing when they count me out. Boots in the dust, I don't turn around. I took every word that they threw like stones, turned that weight into muscle and bone. They drew their lines, tried to fence me in. I cut my path through the thick and thin. They want me down, but I'm still on my feet. Last one standing on this busted up street. They said sit down, follow along. I said this is my road, right or wrong. They said slow down, you'll never last. I burned my old map, left it in the past. Every scar I got is a straight up fact. Every hard day's pays a promise kept intact. I didn't rise up clean, but I rose up real. I answered to my own name, that's the deal. So when the sun drops low and the day gets thin and the old life calls like a worn-out friend, I lock that door, turn the porch light low, let the dark drive by, let the past just go. If there's one thing I know, when the dust comes back and the town starts talking like they know my path, they can bet their words I'll still be here planting and hands on the wheel. Last one standing. Follow along, I said this is my road, right or wrong. They said slow down, you'll never last. I burned my old map, left it in the past. Judge banged the gavel, said I learned in a cell. Mama shook her head, said I'm running from myself. I stared at the floor, chewed a crack in my lip. Thought of that trailer where the rain used to drip. First time I stole, it was gas and a beer. Felt like a wind and I broke down here. Uncle in a corner with smoke in his eyes told me take what you can, leave the rest to the sky. I kept that line like cash in my boot. Walked out of court with a record and a truth. My clock, my pace, I don't race your time. I walk my lane, you can draw your line. I missed some signs, I paid my day. Still I ride this road my own hard way. You can shake your head, you can call me waste, but this life fits me like a worn out waste. I won't bow down just to save my face. I live by my clock, my pace. Met her at a bar off a 2-lane road. She laughed at my joke, said I carried a load. We moved in fast, put a ring on a string, stacked small bills in an old coffee tin. I swore I was done chasing easy cash, then the plant shut down, whole town went flat. Bills on the fridge, red ink on the page, boss on the phone talking half my wage. I stared at the keys to that old blue truck, heard my uncle's words and I doubled my love. My clock, my pace, I don't race your time. I walk my lane, you can draw your line. I missed some signs, I paid my day. Still I ride this road my own hard way. You can shake your head, you can call me waste, but this life fits me like a worn out waste. I won't bow down just to save my face. I live by my clock, my pace. Started hauling tools that were not mine to haul, in and out of yards, moving quick, staying small. Cash in a jar, lights stayed on. She kept the place clean, kept hoping I'd stop. One night she cried, held a test in her hand. Said, we got a baby, you still got a plan. I looked at the door, looked down at my boots. Knew the same old road, only grew new roots. Next day I called a friend at the yard, took a Monday shift, left a getaway car. My clock, my pace, I don't race your time. I'll walk my lane, you can draw your line. I've missed some signs, I paid my day. Still I ride this road my own hard way. You can shake your head, you can call me waste, but this life fits me like a worn out waist. I won't bow down just to save my face. I live by my clock. They say I'm not changing if I won't confess, but I've counted each step from that old address. I still keep my back to a crowded place, still parked by the curb, front tires angled safe. I keep old numbers in a folded list, but I punch new hours on a swing shift wrist. I ain't turned sane, I ain't turned tame, I just aim my ways at a different game. So if you see me driving that beat up ride, stick a half pill, but the seatbelt tied. No, I still hear sirens when the day get late. Still tap my thumb on the edge of fate, but there's a crib in a room at the end of the hall. Little boost by the door, tiny coat on the wall. I still hold the wheel with that outlaw face, but I steer my life by my clock, my pace.
Hey, boom. Yeah. Woke up to my old man yelling by the truck. Said, boy, you're just like me, you're running out of luck. He taught me a wrench, the clock, and quit to talk. I looked at the road, felt my feet start to walk. Mama in the door with a Bible in her hand, begging me to stay, said God has a plan. I stubbed a note in a pay stub in my boot. Took one last look at that tight little rule. Keys in my fist, heart beating in my ear. I said out loud, I'm done living in fear. No chains here, I cut that rope. Kept my wheels, kept my hope. If I get lost, I'll still steer. I made my own road, no chains here. They said sit down, that's your seat. I took my shot, I kept my feet. I burned that script they wrote last year. I speak my mind, no chains. First stop, small town bar off the highway bend. Sign my name on the paper for a rundown room again. Work dishes in the back for a stack of loot bills. Rap verses in my head while I wiped off spills. Old timer at the counter, said son, drink fade fast. I smiled, said maybe, but I ain't your past. Played open mic nights for a burger and a drink. Told the crowd my story so I didn't have to think. One song turned to 10, folks learned my name. They lined up after, said man, I feel the same. No chains here, I cut that rope. Kept my wheels, kept my hope. If I get lost, I'll still steer. I made my own road, no chains here. They said slow down, stay right here. I shifted gears, ignored that fear. I left that doubt in my rearview mirror. I drive my life, no chains here. Got a call from my brother on a Tuesday night. Said dad's real sick, man, you should make it right. I sat on the curb with the phone in my face, thinking about his words in that broken place. Drove all night back to that quiet town. Pulled in a drive, truck rattling down. Walked in the room, saw lines in his eyes. He said, guess you made it, heard you on the rise. I said, I'm still me, just living more clear. I had to leave first to ever get back here. No chains here, I cut that rope. Kept my wheels, kept my hope. If I get lost, I'll still steer. I made my own road, no chains here. He said, boy, stay, don't you dare veer. I hit the gas, change my gear. Now I stand strong, I stand sincere. I live my truth, no chains here. I ain't perfect, I still
lived out, still hear old voices shouting loud. But I keep walking past that gate. I won't sit down and just wait. If you can't just light my fuse, I've had enough of being used. I'll write my days in my own hand. I plant my feet and make my stand. So if you see me rolling past that line, hey, all cap low in a clear, proud mind, know I paid in sweat for every mile this year. Every get back in line just brought me here. I left that house, but I kept my name. Turned my stubborn streak into a flame. I look ahead and I make it clear, I was born for this life, no change here.
Judge said, son, you're back again. I said, yeah, that's on me. Could've blamed my raising or the small town heat, but I signed my name on every bad deal. Kept my own score on the steering wheel. Ran from blue lights, ran from myself for real. I own the damage, every dent, every scar on his name. I own the damage, did it myself, can't point to no one to blame. I took the long way through every wrong way, every bad habit. I crashed and I cracked it, but I stand here and I own the damage. Ooh. Kicked out of high school for a fight I started. Could've walked away, but I chose hard-headed. Told my old man, don't wait up tonight. Took his old truck, didn't bring it back right. Bent up bumper and a heart full of pride. I own the damage, every dent, every scar on his name. I own the damage, did it myself, can't point to no one to blame. I took the long way through every wrong way, every bad habit. I crashed and I cracked it, but I stand here and I own the damage. Did a little time for a friend I covered. Could've told the truth, but that's not how I'm wired. Lost a good woman, she said you love trouble. I watched her tail lights fade over the gravel. Stood in that dust and chose my own battle. I own the damage, every dent, every scar on his name. I own the damage, did it myself, can't point at no one to blame. I took the long way through every wrong way, every bad habit. I crashed and I cracked it, but I stand here and I own the damage. I ain't looking for a pity hand, I ain't asking for a way out. I ride this road I carved myself, every turn I took, every wrong route. If I break again, that's on me. If I change, that's on me too. This old outlaw way I live is the truth I answer to. I own the damage, every dent, every scar on his name. I own the damage, did it myself, can't point at no one to blame. I took a long way through every wrong way, every bad habit. I crashed and I cracked it, but I stand here and I own the damage. Headlights off on a back road thinking, past in the mirror, future just waiting. Hands on the wheel, steady, not shaking. I made this life and I'm the one who has to face it. Yeah, I own the damage.